Hello. We are again in my dining room. I am going to talk today about chalk paint because it's one of my favorite elements to transform and elevate furniture and decor. So I have this tiny little table, very Frenchy. It's very small scale. I ordered it originally for the second bedroom, knowing that might be too small, and it was, because all furniture had different proportions. I guess people were a lot smaller. Everything was tiny. Anyway, this table will end up in my main bathroom, and it's gonna be inside the toilet area because we always need somewhere to hide wipes and to put devices on. Sometimes we like to watch YouTube seated in the toilet. Anyway, I'm going to paint this in two tones. One of my favorite products is the Annie Sloan chalk paint. And it's a little on the spendy side out of all the chalk paints, but I think you get a lot of mileage. Her pigmentation, it's very dense. So one stroke, look, it has practically full coverage on just the first coat. The key thing about chalk paint and why it's so cool is that it really adheres to just about any surface. I don't even sand sometimes pieces. Like, I just cleaned this really well and just went for it. I think the only surface that probably doesn't stick well would be glass. But I have used it in the past I remember I couldn't find a desk that it had to have this little dimensions, and I ended up finding one that had a nice form, but it was not Formica, but kind of like a veneer. I like solid, real materials whenever possible. Well, I ended up buying and painting on top of the veneer, being a little concerned, and it was just fantastic. It really adheres to anything you put it on. So anyway, so that's a great thing to have always if you want to elevate or update or change any piece in your house. One of the key elements on painting with chalk paint is, for me, is it allows you to create this vintage look afterwards with wax. I'll show you guys. I'm gonna go get this piece that I recently did that is the color that I'm putting on, but I'll be right back. I got this out of a brocante for like, I don't know, €3, I think. And it was kind of ugly. I decided to paint it. This thing is this paint, but it has a very heavy dark wax on top of it to make it look really old, and I love how it looks. I like the vintage little cage decor. I don't know will this end up, but it's definitely up my alley in aesthetics. Anyway, the secret on doing this vintage aging thing that I love in all the furniture is to use two waxes. First, the clear wax, and then the darker wax. And now they have, when I started 20 years ago, they had the clear wax and the dark wax that was brown. And I'll open it and I'll show you guys. I still have the original logo, I think, the original container. This is the dark wax. This has been with me for many, many years, and it lasted me a long time. This gives you a lot of mileage. Here is the clear wax. This is the original I had. I was running low, so I ordered a new one, and the packaging has changed a little bit, but not the quality of the product. So it got a little dirty, but that's my clear wax. When I finish painting this piece, I'll give it a light coat of the clear wax, and then I'm gonna give it a light coat of the brown wax. The reason is when you put the clear wax first, when you do the dark wax, you have a lot more control on how dark and how distressed you make it. If you go directly with the dark wax, it's a little bit harder to change your mind. You can always clean it up with mineral spritz, spirits because these are all natural materials. And that's the other thing. This paint doesn't smell. It dries really fast. It's kind of like a win-win. It's immediate gratification because you don't have to wait too long to get the project finished. So I'll continue painting this. One thing I wanted to point out, I'm gonna add a lot of this stuff for you guys to see what I love. My collection of brushes and materials that are always in my pantry. I'm gonna also link the plastic that I'm using. I recently discovered this and it's been a game changer. I love this. I love this very thick kind of vinyl plastic roll. I ordered a couple because super useful. I used to use those painters plastic things and then you have to throw them away, which is very wasteful and not good for the environment. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but when I discovered these vinyl rolls, I'm like, wow, you can clean them, reuse them all the time, and they're so thick that they really protect the furniture. It allows you to have different lengths. They're great. You just wipe them when you're done and reuse them multiple times, I mean, for forever. I'll make sure to have that for you guys. Anyway, we're gonna continue this until it's fully covered, and then I'll show you guys how I do my wax. I think this is the cutest little table. It's so Frenchy with its curves and taper legs. It's just so pretty. The other thing I wanted to point out is sometimes I don't realize I'm brushing over not fully dry sections, and you know how it could get gunky? Well, this paint allows you to lightly sand it and erases whatever you did that you shouldn't have done. So it's the most forgiving material ever. I've been using chalk paint for more than 20 plus years. When I discovered them, like, I don't know, 25 years ago or something like that, I was looking for a solution. When you move from house to house and you still don't know who you are as a decorator, let's just say, you might buy pieces that then don't go with the new taste, or the coloration of the pieces just don't go together, or you keep expanding houses and then you buy new furniture. And this is a great way to tie it all together, especially if you have, oh, this table has this adorable little tray. I'm gonna turn it so I could keep going. Sometimes, you know, if you like the French style, but you started with IKEA furniture, or you have pieces that are beautiful, but they're a little tired, this is fantastic. I did, for my farmhouse in Portland, I painted this beautiful Indian piece of furniture that I brought with me. In fact, I need to do a little bit of touch-ups because during the move it got a little banged up, but minor things. It's that durable. It's upstairs and I love it. It's a fantastic piece. I also used it to paint these trunks that, you know, I don't love red, and the trunks that I got were red. So I painted them and I love their imperfections on the surface. They're so cool. I painted it in a color palette that I like, and then I did a little stenciling on them. They're my favorite pieces. I also brought those from United States. The gray one, I had it in my office and I used to use it a lot for photography, for photographing my jewelry. And the black one was in Josh's office. And that was such a cool office. And now they're here in my future living room, which also I'm dying to get to it because that room is gonna be so transformed. But those pieces will stay there. When I'm done, before I wax, I'm gonna do a little Frenchy stenciling on the top. I don't have the stencil, so I'm gonna create it myself, and I'm gonna show you guys what I do. It's a very simple kind of wreath that I'm gonna cut out, and I'll show you how I make it into a stenciling that I can use. So I hope you guys find this useful, and it gives you an idea for reinventing some of the pieces you might not like in your house, and the minute you paint them, it's like you went shopping. Oopsie. I mean, this paint really made a huge difference on keeping my budget tight for the bathroom, because I was able to find this kind of modern looking armoire that I transformed into exactly what I wanted. I wanted to bring a little gray and white with a little touch of gold, and I was able to do it. It was an unusual size that I needed for a corner. I didn't have to spend a fortune for a hand-painted, handmade looking piece of furniture. When you learn this stuff, and it's not that you need any particular skill, just just minor tricks, you can really transform your house, elevate the aesthetics, and have fun, activate creativity, and really make your house special, which is what I love to do. I love feeling like I walk into an inspirational space. So a little reminder is you can join my Patreon, where we discuss and go deeper into projects. I'm building this amazing community of women who are trying to find inspiration and ideas, and we all support each other. It's becoming a wonderful thing we do once a month, and I'll have surprises too, but we can talk about tricks and tips and ideas on how to make your home special to you, to your family. Anyway, I hope you join. And now, as I continue painting the piece, I'm gonna take it all the way to the finish. I'm gonna leave you. We're gonna get it all buttoned up and pretty. And I'll see you next time. This is my second coat of gray after letting it dry. While the paint dries, I work on my stencil. To do that, I print my design at actual size and use tape on both the front and the back to laminate it. After that, I patiently cut with an X-Acto knife, not worrying about making it perfect. I want those organic imperfections to show. The next morning, I start by sanding and smoothing the surface. The top was painted white, but I forgot to film. I distress the edges with sandpaper for a vintage effect, then clean them thoroughly with a dry cloth. I secure my stencil in place with tape and remove my template. Next, I use a blending brush to apply the paint very lightly in a tapping motion. I then fill in the missing parts of the stem with a fine point paint brush. Now, I move on to the opposite side. I clean up any imperfections with a pointed Q-tip, but let the organic feel stay as is. I apply one coat of clear wax, followed by one coat of brown wax, blending it very well with the brush. Finally, I wipe off any excess wax with a rag and buff it thoroughly.